Welcome to Bears After Dark, and just like that, the season of history is in the books. Made it to the playoffs, won a playoff game even. Who would have thought? At the beginning of the year, I definitely didn't. I was hopeful for maybe a sneak-in wild card round, but exceeded my expectations, did a lot better than I would have thought. Ben Johnson came in, instantly switched the organization around. All props to him. The players gave in to everything he said, fully committed, and you've seen the season we had. The season definitely was not a complete failure. There's a lot of benefits we can take away. I know Ben said not much carries over from this season and next season, but we got a lot of great pieces going into his year 2 and year 3 with Caleb. So excited for that. Just want to overall talk about the season, how it went, ups, downs on it. So that's what this video is about. Preseason expectations. I'm curious what y'all thought, but I was hopeful for a wild card sneaking round. I think maybe 10-8 was expectations, 10-7. So definitely 11-6 exceeded my expectations personally, and I'd be curious to what y'all's expectation was. But was a great year. We were playing with house money at the end of it. Beat the Packers in a crazy game. Definitely could have beat the Rams. The Rams are now out, thankfully, to the Seahawks. I don't know how much of a chance we would have actually stood against the Seahawks, but that's for another day, a debate for another day. But a great season ultimately. Finished with 11-6. I think we had a total of 7 fourth quarter wins that broke Bears history of any quarterback. We had the biggest comeback in history in the postseason. So, we were just the comeback kids. Cardiac Bears, that was the nickname we had all year. That is our team. That's the best way to define our team. We didn't quit. We had no quit. Came back no matter what the circumstance was. The first 2 games didn't look too good. There was a lot of questions about then. But I would say after the bye week, we had incredible change there. So that's the best stat I could say. 7 comeback wins in the fourth quarter. Let's talk about 3 things that went well. One thing that I think we did extraordinarily well this year was developing young talent, which we've had problems with. And that's truly how you end up building a Super Bowl contender. You have to draft well, and you have to build them up, develop them well. We have amazing rookies this year. We had Kyle Monungai stepped in. Who would have thought? 7th round pick, played well above what he was expected. He finished with 783 rushing yards. I think Ashton Jeanty had 900, which is supposed to be the rookie RB1 this year. So if you're only 100 yards out and you're a 7th round rookie, what else could you ask? You have Colston Loveland, I don't even want to talk. He had 713 receiving yards, led our entire roster in receiving yards. A rookie did that, so can't say enough about him. We have Luther Burden, who's in our 3rd place of total receiving yards, another home run hit. So, rookie development was amazing. Not really defensively. There's no one we can really name. Wish we could have seen Shamar Turner more, but didn't really see him. But offensively, we have some studs out there. So going into year 2, they're only going to get better. Wish we could have seen more of Rome this year, but started off phenomenal. That Caleb and Rome connection, couldn't believe it. I thought that was going to be in the history books if they would have kept that same pace. Rome ended up hurting his ankle and kind of fell off from there, so that didn't really turn out too well. DJ had a pretty good year, 683 yards. Nowhere compared to what he's been in the last few years, but there's a lot more mouths to feed. And all of our receivers were pretty even with what they had. Let's talk about a player that exceeded expectations. I think we can all unanimously say there was a lot of questions going to this year about DeAndre Swift. Last year, he looked terrible. He could never hit a hole. If he got touched at all, he went down instantly. There was a lot of questions coming in this year. Should we have kept him? I know there's a lot of talks about us trading up to draft Ashton Jeanty, and he answered those questions. He stepped up huge. He played phenomenal this year, having over 1,000 rushing yards, 1,087 rushing yards. So all props to DeAndre. You deserve to stay on this team with Kyle Monungai. So he really surprised me this year. And I would say, obviously, you have Nashawn Wright, but no one really had expectations for him. So somebody who exceeded expectations, 100% without a doubt, DeAndre Swift. So congrats to you, sir. One area of growth that we took a huge step forward in, especially with Caleb, we broke records last year with the amount of sacks that we gave up. We increased our offensive line tremendously, so all props to Ryan and Ben Johnson. But to get our sack rate down in half, that is huge. You can tell Caleb's sack avoidance is it's through the roof. There's not many magicians like him that can escape as well as he does. He tried last year, but then ultimately held the ball too long. But he made great decisions when he escaped. He didn't really put the ball in harm's way. So that is something that we did very well this year and improved a lot from last year. All right, let's get into three things that went wrong, three disappointments of this year. Number one, I'll say overall injuries. I think we were number one and number two for the most time missed by starters at the beginning of the year. I mean, it happens when your number one corner goes out before you can even play week one. So just having Jalen banged up all year long, he even said it himself. He came back too early. So even the final few games that he played, definitely should have sat out some more. But I appreciate your heart, Jalen. Way to come out. And then you have Kyler Gordon, who was out a lot of the year. Tremaine Edmonds got hurt. TJ Edwards got hurt. It seemed like it was a lot of our defense. Our offense remained pretty healthy. But just the injuries, I mean, it just killed us this year. We thought our secondary was going to be phenomenal, but we ended up having to get C.J. Gardner-Johnson, stepped up huge. No one would have thought of Nashawn Wright. So they really saved us. If they wouldn't have performed how they did, would have been a lot worse with just the amount of injuries we had. Our safety stayed pretty healthy. Jaquan, no one would have thought that. I didn't think that. He's been injury-prone his whole career, so he stayed pretty well. Kevin Byard played phenomenally, but we just couldn't keep up with injuries. We couldn't. As soon as we got one player healthy, another one went out. So we had the most time missed by starters at the beginning of the season. Now, if I'm calling out one specific position group of our entire team, I'm calling out our defensive line. The amount of money that we continue to spend in that and get no results is just mind-boggling. I mean, you got Grady Jarrett. He's a vet. I get it. Adi Ingbo, you got him. He got hurt. Didn't even know he was there half the time. Was just bad. Montez somehow walked away the season with 10 sacks, so good on you. And he was there several more times, but just could never finish. Austin was hurt for most of the year. I think that he is a really good candidate and could come out and perform. Grady Jarrett, we're waiting for you to take this huge step forward, and every single year you don't. You stay the same. You're very mediocre. So we just have to get something going there. And I don't know if that's going to be some big splash in the offseason like Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson, somehow Myles Garrett. That would be insane. Or if it's just going to be we draft somebody. I mean, we have a 25th pick, so I don't know who you're really going to get that late. I think most of the great edge rushers and interior linemen are going to go early. But I do think it's a pretty good class for defensive line. So I have to see with that. All trust and faith in Ryan Poles, but you know that's the number one area that we're going to have to improve this offseason. One brutal stat that is insane, if you look it up, we have the most yards by drops in the league. So, I mean, Caleb went the entire year with not such a good completion percentage. It was a 90.1 completion percentage over the whole year, which isn't good. I think average is at least over 100, so Caleb didn't do well with that. But if you say the amount of drops and throwaways he had, if you were to incorporate that in it, it would have looked a lot better. So, I mean, we just had receivers selling us, and especially in the biggest moments. You can go back to the playoff game. Rome dropped a touchdown pass. Luther's dropped a few. Colson dropped a few easy ones. It's just our receivers just constantly were just making crucial drops. So, leading the league in drop passes for yards, it's a terrible stat to lead in. Easily the biggest turning point in this season, without a doubt, was the bye week. I mean, those first few weeks, a lot of questions. I mean, we couldn't run the ball worth anything. The Vikings came back. We've seen how that turned out. The Vikings looked even worse, so that's more embarrassing on us. The Lions didn't even make the playoffs, and they put up 50 on our head. Everyone didn't know what the season was going to be like. People were questioning, is Ben Johnson the right fit for Caleb? Is Caleb not actually going to perform the way he should? And then we went into the bye week, and you heard Ben just confidently say, our run game is just a few clicks off, a few missed assignments, just not everyone on the same page. We came out from the bye week, and then from there on, we were first in rushing. And it just worked into everything. That was the turning point of the year. Who would have thought that early of a bye week we could have taken that much advantage of it? And we have never truly taken advantage of a bye week at any past Bears coach. So if you can take one thing away, mainly from Ben, he makes adjustments. He knows ways to improve and get the most out of his players, and you've seen that. I mean, I thought we had a playoff roster, but I didn't think we had a divisional conference playoff roster, and he made them. So I can't wait until he gets another year in and can pick everyone he wants, pick the whole roster. I'm ecstatic for that. Can't wait for you. Another year with Ben. Just to talk about going forward into the offseason. Obviously, we talked about a main need that we need is going to be defensive linemen. We need to get better with that. We need to get more consistency with Caleb and his receivers. We need to get on a better chemistry level with them. That is going to be a massive part. I think that we really need to figure out our safeties. Both safeties are on a contract year. Maybe like all four of our safeties are on a contract year. I would love to bring back Kevin Byard. I even think there's an argument for Jaquan Brisker. He played very well, especially in the playoff game, and that's where you make your money, is in the playoff game. So if you can perform your best then, I think you deserve it. I think we re-sign both of them and hopefully get a safety later in the round, preferably strong safety. I would like to keep Kevin Byard for at least 2 more years. I mean, he's older, but he just had the best year of his career, so you can't really hold that on his head. But Kevin Byard is just shown injury prone. I still think he deserves that position, but I think we need to add somebody else for competition. So we need to get defensive linemen. We need to get at least a secondary, like a safety, to compete with them. We're going to have to figure out the status of Kyler Gordon. Do we want to keep C.J. Gardner-Johnson instead of Kyler? Because you just couldn't stay healthy all year. I think you're a baller, and I think you perform very well, but ultimately you get paid by being on the field. So if you can't be there in the crucial moments that we need you, and you're going to be a liability, like in the Packers game, we might have to find a way to replace you. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson stepped up very well in that position. I'll have a more in-depth just talk about offseason needs and like who I think we could actually attack in a different video. I just kind of want to wrap up the season in this video, so that was just the overall goal. So just to hit on a few brief things like I did, and then we'll go in depth later on in one of my videos. If you guys have any more video ideas of what I should do in the offseason, we have several months now to talk about. So just trying to find draft, obviously. I want to try to grade some of Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson's picks. I want to talk about the overall just change in culture that Ben Johnson had. So that's just a few options for videos. But if you guys are enjoying the content, though, please like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'll be doing a giveaway at 100 subscribers. It'll be like a $25 gift card or something. So make sure to leave something in the comments so I'll know. I'll go back on one of these videos and just select someone random. Just closing and final thoughts on the season. It was a successful season. And I mean, we were playing with house money for most of the year. Ben Johnson came in first year. There's an argument for him to be coach of the year. Mike Vrabel is going to win it. I mean, they're in the Super Bowl, so tune into that. Rooting for the Seahawks, but no shame on Drake May. You've had an incredible year. I just don't want Drake May to be the first quarterback out of that class to win a Super Bowl. I think Caleb will be there next year. Caleb could even be an MVP next year, and there's no question about it. I mean, if he performs better than he did this year, but like makes the same incredible throws, we have an MVP candidate. We have a top 5 quarterback candidate on our team. So I can't wait. He's talked about that he wants to work on his accuracy because for some reason he makes the hardest throws look easy, and then the easiest throws are the worst for him. But that's fixable, and that's honestly a huge upside to him. You can't teach the scramble out on 4th down and make an incredible throw. That's God-given ability. But you can teach footwork and making consistent throws on time. And there's no one else better I trust him working with than Ben Johnson. I mean, that is a home run hit because you look at like the Commanders when they hired Cliff Kingsbury, they had an incredible year. But when you do well like that, eventually you end up losing that offensive coordinator to another position. Like he wants to go pursue better opportunities, such being like a head coach. So the fact that we have our play caller as a head coach, I mean, you can't speak better than that. I mean, that is an awesome privilege to be in. Like Declan Doyle is being interviewed for offensive coordinator positions, and I mean, it would suck because he's a great helper to our coaching staff, but he's not our play caller, so we're really not losing that much. We have Dennis Allen who's our defensive play caller. We might lose Al Harris. That one is going to suck. You can see every single team he's been with leads the league in interceptions. I mean, the Cowboys now to us, he's just a great coach. We lost Eric Bieniemy. Now he's going to be the Chiefs offensive coordinator. He had tremendous impact. Kyle Monungai specifically, DeAndre Swift. That is going to be a hard position to replace. We have hired some other coaches so far. I don't think positions have been named yet, but we're just going to see. All faith in Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles. So I can't wait to talk about offseason moves, signings, drafts. It's going to be exciting. Let's win. Let's go 4 for 4 on offseason champs. We've done it last few years, but this is the first year we actually made it into something.